of fun and makeup. Thank you very much for coming. You're all more than welcome. We would like to share the very good news with you all that Matt O'Flaherty Chemists has opened up just a new pharmacy up in NUI, and for this we are celebrating that by inviting our super fabulous makeup artist Chloe Boucher. I hope you all, and I can't guarantee that you all follow her up already with her all amazing work. Just as a matter of introduction, Chloe's going to present her makeup with a brand called Young Blood. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it's all mineral brand that we are happy to store in our shops. And that is in William Street beside Brent Thomas. You also got little slips with the free makeover for it, so you're all more than welcome to call in to get makeup done by myself and by Hayley, that we're qualified makeup artists. You can have a look through our work if you're interested as well. And just make sure that you kind of give us a call in between the times you are going to arrive. Mainly, if you don't mind, between Monday and Friday, since we're quite busy on the Saturdays. And if you would like to try any products and familiarise yourself with the brand, you're more than welcome to come in as well. So I won't delay any longer, and I hope you're going to enjoy the evening, and good luck.
So I just want to say, actually we'll do this all. So firstly, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for coming today. I'm going to get straight into the makeover, so I'm just going to be demoing a look using all of the Young Blood products. I'm just going to show you how I use some of the products that I like to use, and the look that I'm going to create today is just a nice grungy smoky eye. It's not like the ones that you usually see with like a cut crease and a perfect liner. It's something a bit quicker for people who are kind of in a rush to go out and get ready and they want to be able to still look like they put themselves together. I'm going to show you how I achieve like a medium to full coverage with the products as well, because I think a lot of people when they hear mineral they think really natural, and they, obviously you can achieve really natural look with this brand, but you can also achieve really high coverage as well, which is great. So it's good for your skin, and then you get a good contouring and full coverage going on as well. So I'm going to jump straight into it. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to prime the face. So I like to use the mineral primer here, and this just acts as a really good base on the skin. So it just fills out any pores or any fine lines, creates like a perfect canvas for the foundation to smooth on perfectly. So a lot of girls ask me how to get like that perfect, flawless kind of coverage on the face, and a lot of the time girls think that you apply more foundation to achieve that full coverage or that flawless finish. And a lot of the time it's actually got to do with the base. So if you have good exfoliated skin, moisturized, and a good primer, you have to use less foundation then. So that's a good tip to kind of save yourself using a lot of foundation. So I just apply it like this with the Duo Fiber brush. Now when you're applying it on yourself, you obviously can just use your fingers or your hands, because you're going to melt that product into your skin a lot better. But for hygiene purposes, when I'm doing makeovers, I obviously like to use brushes. But make sure you just cover all your face. So especially in areas like the corner of your nose, on your cheeks, anywhere that you kind of feel like you've got dry skin, because this is a mineral primer as well, it's really hydrating. So it's great for anyone who has drier skin, and anywhere that you feel like your makeup kind of comes off easily or wears away a lot quicker, those are the areas that you want to add that primer, because it's going to keep your foundation on for much longer. So buffing it into the skin like this. When you use your hands to apply this, obviously it's a lot quicker, so you don't have to be bored by watching me putting on someone else. But this is really, really works well with the liquid mineral foundation as well. So this is the foundation I'm going to be using, the liquid mineral. This is more of a medium coverage. Now you can put like one layer of this on and it's a lot more natural. You can do 2 layers and it's a lot more of a medium coverage. And then if you want a full coverage with this, what I actually suggest to do is mixing it with the loose powder foundation. I'll show you it here. So just on the back of anything, a flat surface, mixing a loose powder foundation and the liquid foundation together, and then applying it onto the skin, and that's how you'll get that full coverage. So it actually really, really, it covers tattoos and everything. So for anyone who really likes a lot of coverage, it's great. And then at the same time, it is mineral, so it's not going to dry out your skin. It's not going to cause as much damage or harm to your skin if you're to use heavier products such as MAC and stuff like that. So I'm going to apply the shade Sun Kiss today. I'm just going to use a flat foundation brush. Now, if you use a flat foundation brush, you're going to get a lot more coverage as well. So if you use a Duo Fiber, you're going to get it a lot more of a blended out coverage. It's not going to be as intense as this. So depending on the kind of effect that you like with your foundation, you can use different brushes, but if you do like a good coverage, this one is great. So I'm going to apply that all over the skin and starting in the center of the face and working outwards. So you don't want to begin around your hairline. You want most of the product to be deposited in the center of the face and then move it on outwards, because if you start with your brush here, you're going to get all the product built up here and it's going to be in your hairline, and that's how you kind of get that like mask effect almost, where it's all caught around the sides of your face. So by applying it to the center of your face, it's going to look a lot more natural. It's going to just even out really, really nicely. So make sure you do, though, at the same time, when you start in the center of your face, make sure you do blend it into your hairline, especially for girls who wear a fake tan. And if you don't fake tan your face, so obviously your face is a lot paler then. When you're applying a dark foundation, if you stop too early, you can kind of see where your foundation ends, your natural skin tone, and then obviously it's a real telltale. So make sure that you're getting it right in here. For anyone who has blonde hair, just be careful not to buff it too much into like any baby hairs or too much into your hairline, because it can discolor your hair as well. So a brush like this is really good because you get really good precision with it as well. So making sure that you get a nice even coverage all over. Now, like I said, one layer of this, it still gives a really nice coverage, which would be perfect for something like college or going out during the day. You want something a bit more natural. And then by applying a second layer of this, you can get more of a medium coverage. And then by mixing it with the powder, you get the full coverage. And believe me, it's really full coverage. It's really, really good. It lasts basically the whole day as well without any touch-ups. It's great. So what this does is I like to apply it on the eyelids as well. And it just creates a nice blank canvas for when you're putting on your eyeshadows later. It just shows up a bit more true to colour, because naturally we all have a bit of discoloration on our eyelids, most people anyway. So if you have a bit of redness going on your eyelid, it's going to affect the colour of the eyeshadow that you apply on top. So just by evening out the skin tone with a bit of foundation, it means that you've got like perfect base then for your eyeshadow to go on top, and it shows up a bit more true to colour. So making sure I have every bit of the face covered, and don't be afraid to kind of blend it in between your jaw and your neck as well. You don't want any lines anywhere. So over this side of the face as well. And because this is so moisturising, I actually don't mind when I get a little bit on the lips as well, because it won't really dry them out like a lot of foundations do. This is so moisturising. So the same idea as the eyelids, it kind of blanks out the lips, the colour of the lips. So when you apply your lipstick on top of that, you're going to get the lipstick a bit more true to colour as well. Now for anyone who doesn't like really nude lips, you can skip this step obviously, because sometimes it can look a bit concealer lips if you go too much or too heavy on it. So to avoid that, just go really lightly, whatever's left on your brush, just over the lips lightly. So next what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do a little bit of concealing. So I'm going to take, when I conceal, I actually like to highlight at the same time. So I always go for a concealer that's a little bit lighter. So I'm going to take the Fair concealer. This again is mineral, all the products are mineral. And I'm going to take a fluffy brush to apply this, but when you're applying this on yourself, you can just use your finger, because you're going to warm up the product and it's going to just absorb and blend much easier into your skin. If you look right up for me. So I apply this right into the inner corner of the eye, down to the corner of the nose, right underneath the eye like this. I'm just going to draw the area so you can really see it. So it's almost like an upside down triangle that I apply this in. And what this does is it really highlights underneath the eye in this area here. So it just kind of gives you that fresh, bright face look. And if you close your eyes again there for me. And then with whatever's left on my brush, I again go over the eyelid just really lightly, for the same purpose as why I applied the foundation, just blanks out the eyelid then. And then I just blend. So you don't want any obvious lines of where your concealer starts and where your foundation starts. You just want it to all seamlessly kind of blend into each other. And you can already see the difference. Like that's it highlighted, that's it not. Like it really does improve like the brightness of your face. Now, you don't have to use a concealer if you don't want to highlight. I just think it kind of kills two birds with one stone, to be honest. So for this purpose here, I'm not actually concealing, I'm just highlighting the area. Because this is mineral, it is light. You still get good coverage with it, but it's not going to cake up and go too heavy. So it is really nice to highlight with. So anyone who's into contouring and highlighting, this is a really good technique. So I apply it right down the center of the nose as well, in the center of the forehead, and kind of branch it out and blend it out here. Contouring and highlighting is great as well for anyone who has any kind of insecurities or wants to kind of or loves, like say their cheekbones or any areas of face that you really want to enhance, highlighting is great. For any areas that you want to kind of slim down, or if you want to kind of change the shape of anything, contouring is great for that. So it's just kind of like an illusion almost. And if you just turn this way for me, perfect. And I'm going to do the exact same on the other eye as well. So make sure you get right up into the lash line as well, because this is going to act as a base for our eyeshadow applied later as well. And then I bring it up like this onto the cheekbones. And this just lifts your face as well. So when you're applying this with your fingers, you can do it really, really quick. Like even if you're going to college or running out the door, you can do it really quick. A lot of people think that like contouring and stuff and highlighting will take ages, but really it takes so quick if you know exactly what you're doing. And if you close again there for me, and then again, I'm just going on the eyelids really lightly. And blending, always in circular motions. So the further you hold the brush down here, the lighter of an application you're going to get. If you hold it closer to actual bristles, you're going to get more precision, and it's going to be a lot like, you're going to get a lot more product build-up. So back here, you're going to get more of a lighter blend and more of a buff going on. So that's why I always hold it really far back when I'm doing this kind of application. So just like that, and you can see the coverage on this is so good. And this is only like a light amount that I've applied. So after I finish that, I like to set the highlighted areas. So to set the areas, you want to use a powder that's also light as well. So if you're after applying a lighter shade underneath your eyes or the center of your nose, down here, up here, you want to set it with a powder that's going to be the same color as well to keep those areas lighter. So I'm going to use the pressed powder foundation, and I'm going to use the color Neutral. So this is just a lighter shade that matches the concealer and the highlight that we used. So this is going to keep it nice and bright. I'm going to use it on a small brush like this. This is just a real technique, so when you can use any little small brush that fits underneath here. I'm going to grab that here, tap off any of the excess product, and start applying that in the areas. So if you look right up again for me, and I tap it into the skin like this. So by pressing it into the skin, you're not going to like move around that product that we just placed. You're just going to set it, because if you go in too rough with your hands or with your makeup, you're going to completely move around all the product that you just blended out and placed perfectly. So you want to keep it exactly where it is. So if you close again there for me, and then set the eyes as well, otherwise you're going to get that creasing of the cream product in the eyelids. The center of the forehead, down the center of the nose, on the chin, anywhere that you applied that highlight, and then same underneath this eye as well. So this just keeps it nice and bright. And look right up again there for me. So anytime you apply a cream product, you want to set it with a powder, because otherwise, unless you have really, really dry skin, that cream product is going to move around and it's going to crease and it's just going to come off really quickly throughout the day. If you close again there for me. So anyone who has problems with their foundation staying on, or if your foundation you find comes off really blotchy or really quick and it doesn't last throughout the day, just check if you're actually setting your foundation or your cream products, because even a loose translucent powder when you're finished really lightly over your face is going to keep all those products in place. And this, because it is a powder foundation, it's going to add a little bit more coverage. So it kind of conceals as well as setting it. So then I'm going to move on to setting the face. So for the face, you also could use the pressed foundation or the loose foundation to add more coverage, but I'm not going to add more coverage. I'm just going to go in with the Mineral Rice setting powder. So this is kind of like a translucent powder, just has a little bit of colour to it as well. You can use just, a standard translucent powder that's completely, when you look at it, it looks white, but then it sets into the skin. I just like to use this because it adds a little bit of dewiness to the skin. So this is great for girls who like that matte powdered look, but don't like to look too dry in the skin, because it does add a little bit of a glow. So I'm just going to apply that really lightly with the fluffy brush all over the face. Now, if you do have really dry skin, like I said, you don't have to use as much powder, because it is going to dry you out again. So just really lightly with a translucent would be perfect. And if you turn towards me, perfect. By applying a powder as well, after you apply your cream products, if you apply a powder after, when you go in with your contour powder, then it's going to apply a lot more evenly. It's not going to go as blotchy because you have a powder underneath it. So if you're trying to blend powder, if I wasn't to set her foundation, go straight in with contour or with the darker colour to try and bronze or contour or anything like that, it's going to stick to that cream product and it's going to go blotchy. So for anyone who's trying to constantly contour and they find that it's kind of catching, make sure you put just a light amount of powder down first, and then whatever powder you put on top of that, it's going to blend a lot more easily because it's blending on top of powder. If that makes any sense. It's probably really confusing, but you'll understand now in a second. So then I'm going to go into my contour colour. So I like to use a warmer colour to contour. I know some people prefer to use more of a kind of ashy grey, or some people like to use a bronzer like this. It's just personal preference. So a colour that's a little bit darker than your natural skin tone, I'm going to use the Sunshine Mineral Bronzer here, just because it adds a little bit of warmth to the face as well. And I'm going to use a domed shape brush like this. You can just use an angled brush, they work just as well. So I'm going to put that into the product here. This is really pigmented, so a little bit goes a long way. So you're better to add bit by bit than to add too much at once. So take off any of the extra products here, and then if you turn this way, perfect. When I contour, I like to go from the top of the ear towards the corner of the mouth. That's the kind of direction you want to go in. You don't want to go too low because it's going to drag your face down, and you don't want to go too high because that's not contouring, it's just kind of adding like a bronzer onto the cheekbones. So this really suits most people's bone structure. So the top of the ear like this towards the corner of the mouth. Now you don't want to go the whole way to the corner of your mouth because it will start to look dirty and kind of catch along here. So bit by bit, build it up. And you can see how lightly I'm applying this and kind of blending as I go. So like I said, you're better off applying it bit by bit than to go in really heavy, because I think we've all done it where you just apply so much on the brush, you're in a rush, and then you apply it and then you've got that streak and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? And you're trying to blend it out the whole time. So by applying it bit by bit, you kind of combat all of that. And I like to bring it right into the hairline as well. And back along here. And then the exact same over the other side too. So if you turn this way towards me. In the exact same area. So top of the ear to the corner of the mouth. And blend as you go. So circular motions like that is going to stop any harsh lines. And then I also like to bring it onto the forehead too. This is just optional. This is just another area that you can kind of contour. Now, you don't have to do something like this. I think it looks a bit more natural because it kind of looks, it ties it in with wherever you've kind of contoured here and brings it all around your face as well. But make sure you're getting it right into the hairline. You don't want to start in the center of your face here. You want to just make it look like you're kind of going from darker here to lighter. That's the whole idea of contouring. Bronzing is completely different. If you're trying to bronze your face, that's when you kind of get a larger brush and just kind of sweep it over. Where contouring, it's a bit more structured and it's a bit more like you've applied here, here, and here. So onto the temples of the face as well. Now, if you have a really small forehead, I wouldn't recommend contouring it because it's going to make it look even smaller. But for anyone who feels like they have a larger forehead and they're insecure about it, this is actually a really good technique. Now, it's obviously optional. You don't have to do anything like this. But this is just one of the areas that you can. And also on the side of the nose. So I think everyone kind of knows about contour, but just knowing where to apply it is the kind of tricky part. So just down the center of the nose here. Again, this is just completely optional. This, you know, you don't have to do anything like this. But just if you're going for that kind of full-on glam look, this is great. So I'm going to do the same underneath as well. So just on the jawline here. I'm blending a little bit down here as well. So again, this just kind of brings out the jawbone. And over on the other side. So basically when you contour anything, it kind of creates a shadow. So it hides something. So that's why we contour it here in the hollows of the cheeks. So it kind of sinks in here and we highlight on top of here, so it brings this area out. So it kind of gives the illusion of like supermodel like jawbones and supermodel cheekbones. So again, just going over any areas that you kind of feel like you need a little bit extra. And you can see how lightly I'm applying this. But it's such a nice colour. Especially in summer, if you did want to use this as a bronzer, it's really, really nice as well. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to blush. So the blush that I'm going to use a nice kind of shimmery peach blush. And the colour that I'm using is in Tanger. I'm going to grab it on just a brush like this. Any blush brush will do. So I'm going to grab that, and the same again, I'm going to put any of the extra product just on my hand like this so I don't get a build up straight away, and apply that almost like on top of the cheekbones and a little bit onto the apples of the cheek. Now, blush, I know a lot of girls don't really like to wear blush. Well, that's what a lot of girls tell me. So if you're not into it, again, it's completely optional. I just think it kind of adds a little bit of colour back to the face. But if you prefer, you can just go in with bronzer and a highlighter instead. So for highlighter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Twilight highlighter. Now, this is really, really amazing. You can mix this in with like a body cream, and it kind of illuminates the skin as well. You can use it on your shoulders, on your collarbones here, and as well on your eyes, or to highlight your face as well. So I'm actually going to use it on the face today. So you only need whatever's kind of left in the lid is usually what you need, because it's really, really pigmented. I'm going to use it on top of the cheekbones here. This shimmery shade only goes on the top of the cheekbones. This highlight is different to the highlight that we did earlier. That's a cream highlight and this is a shimmer highlight, so there is a big difference, because I do know people who've applied the shimmer highlight underneath their eye here, and it's just, I know there's no rules in makeup, but I'm making that rule up. You do not apply the shimmer underneath here. It just does not go. And the exact same on the other cheekbone as well. Down the centre of the nose. This is so nice as well when it catches the light. It's such a nice colour. A little bit on the Cupid's bow here on the top lip. Centre of the nose, centre of the forehead. So for anyone who likes a nice dewy finish, this is gorgeous. You could even mix this in with your foundation as well. If you have a foundation at home and you want it to be a bit more of a luminous kind of glow, you can just tap a little bit of this on the back of your hand, apply a little bit of foundation, mix it up, and then apply it onto your skin, and it's really nice. You can see that it just adds such a nice glow. So then I'm going to move on to the eyebrows. So for eyebrows, I love to use the Youngblood eyebrow kit. So I'm going to show you it now. I'm going to use the colour Brunette. They do have a lighter colour and they do have a darker colour. And they also have a more of an auburn colour as well. So this is the kit here. You do get a tweezers with it as well as a dual-ended brush. So the brush is like a smaller version of this here. So you get a spoolie with it and you get an angled tip at the other end. So this is great for brushing through your eyebrows. So I always brush through the eyebrows first. Never ever apply colour into the eyebrows without brushing them out first. It's like you wouldn't colour your hair without brushing through it first. The same kind of idea. You want to get the actual shape of your eyebrows and always brush them up as well. So then there's a cream gel-like product here, and then there's two powder products as well. So there's a lighter powder and a darker powder. The creamy gel product is really good for anyone who has kind of gapped brows or any sparse areas in your brows. You apply the kind of cream gel first, and then when you apply the powder over, it just kind of adheres, it sticks to that cream. So for anyone who finds it hard to build up gaps in their eyebrows, like I know I have kind of gapped here, or like you might want to make your eyebrows longer or make them kind of come in closer together more, this is really good for that. So I apply this first in any areas that I feel like need a little extra, and then I go in with the powder after. Now, if you don't feel like you need to apply this, you can just go in with the powder instead. But this is great. You'll still get a nice structured brow with this, but it won't be too intense. It's a little bit more natural because we are using powders as well. If you do love that really structured eyebrow, you can use a brown gel liner. They have one here in Youngblood, and it's gorgeous through the brows. You just have to use a tiny amount of it and use it on an angled brush as well. So same over here. When you're using the gel liner though, just be really, really careful, because what I would suggest is applying a powder first to your brows and then going in with the gel liner after, just to give it a little extra structure. So just towards the end here. And then I'm going to go in with the powder. So I'm going to go in with the lighter powder first and apply that on top. I would suggest, if you do use the gel, to definitely go over it with a bit of powder, because it can make your eyebrows look a little bit shiny, just obviously because it's a gel consistency. So definitely go in with the lighter powder on top just to kind of set it. So really quick, light motions again. Even if you do have, HD brows or perfect brows, giving a little bit of powder through them just adds a little bit more definition to them, especially when you're going to be doing a smoky eye, because usually a smoky eye will kind of take away from your eyebrows because it's so intense. So this just kind of evens it out, balances it out. So the same on this eye. And now for any of the areas towards the end, I go into the darker colour. So you do kind of want to keep it lighter in the beginning and darker towards the end. So this is great, like in the one kit you get all the different colours and you get all the different tools. So for anyone who's just kind of a newbie into filling in their eyebrows, this is really, really handy. And powders are a lot easier to work with when you're kind of first getting into brows, and then you can kind of move on to the gel liner and stuff. The gel liner is great though, especially if you're going out, it doesn't budge, like it will stay there the whole time. So your eyebrows will be there for the whole night. You don't have to worry about them coming off or anything like that. They're there for good. So just to finish off this here. So next I'm going to move on to the eyes. So what I'm going to do for the eyes is I'm actually going to use a gel liner in the same kind of colour of the eyeshadow I'm going to use. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it kind of acts as like a base for the shadow, so the shadow lasts a little bit longer and comes up a bit more intense. So the eyeliner gel I'm going to be using is in the shade Sienna. I don't know if you can even see it there. It's just kind of like a nice brown. It has a bit of shimmer to it as well. And I'm going to apply this with a blending brush. And you can apply this with your fingers when you're applying it on yourself. I mean, it's a lot easier and you can kind of get it like a nice soft amount. So if you close there for me, I'm going to be applying it with a brush though, just to get more of an intense colour. So we're only going to apply this on the lid. We're not going to apply this into the crease, and we're not going to apply this or blend it up or anything like that. We just want to focus it on the lid. So pressing it onto the lid like this. And make sure you're going right into the inner corner and to the outer corner as well. So this just means that the colour is going to show up really, really intense, and it's going to last much longer, and you're not going to get that blotchy eyeshadow. So with this technique of a smoky eye, we're going to be doing the darker colour all on the lid, and we're going to be blending it out with a lighter colour, because usually people are used to seeing like a cut crease where it's lighter on the lid and darker in the crease. Whereas this is just actually a quicker way to apply smoky eye, and it's a lot easier as well. So if you're in a rush to go anywhere, this is really great if you still want a nice intense smoky eye. And then the exact same on the other eye. You can even just apply this gel liner, blend it out before it kind of dries in. If you're in a real rush, you don't have to apply an eyeshadow on top, because you can see that it does have colour to it. So it almost looks like you just applied like a cream eyeshadow. But just make sure if you do apply anything like this that you're blending really quick with it, because it does dry out, and once it dries it's much harder to blend. So the exact same right into the inner corner, the outer corner. And this is even gorgeous. Obviously it's a gel liner, so you can use it as a gel liner as well. And right to here. So then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be grabbing an eyeshadow shade that's similar to this and applying it on top. So the colour that I'm going for, I can't take it out to show you, but it's basically the exact same colour as that, and it's called Kazar, or Caesar, I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it, but it's Kazar, I think. I'm going to take this on a flat brush here like this and apply that again just on the eyelid. So patting it on like this means you're going to get more of an intense colour. So any brush that's kind of tightly packed like this, it means you're going to get a lot more product on, where if you use a nice fluffy blending brush, it's just going to apply a really light coverage of the colour, and it's going to blend it out for you. So these are not good brushes to blend with. Any kind of flat brush like this is not good to blend with. I mean, you could, but you'd just be there all day, so there's no point trying it. And then the exact same on the other eye. And it looks crazy now because we haven't blended it up, but you don't want to use this colour to blend. We're going to use a different colour to blend this up. And just turn this way for me. Perfect. And make sure you're getting right down to the root of the lashes as well. You don't want any gaps in between where your lashes start and where your eyeshadow is. You want it to just literally go all smoothly into one. So by applying it right down here into the base of the lashes, stops that from happening. Again on this eye, and then we're going to go and blend out this. So what I'm going to use is, I'm actually going to go back into the bronzer that we used on the face. Now you can switch up any of these colours if you like, if you prefer like a black colour, if you prefer gold. It's just the technique really that I'm showing you today. So I'm going to take a smaller blending brush, which looks like this one here. You can see it there. I'm going to take this colour on that. So if you close there for me, I'm going to apply this into the crease and just really lightly blend first. This is just going to blend out the edges of that, so it's not like a really harsh line. And this is just a tiny bit lighter than that colour as well, so it's going to be a nice transition from the dark on the lid to this kind of lighter brown as well. And the exact same on the other eye. So really with Smoky Eyes, a lot of it's got to do with brushes. Like, you can have the most amazing products, but if you don't have brushes as well, it really is just going to make your life so much harder. And I learned that the hard way. For years, I was trying to even do makeovers with kind of mediocre brushes, and it's just, you're going to add twice as much time to it. So you don't have to have loads of brushes, just good quality. The Real Technique brushes are really, really good, and they're really, really affordable as well. So anyone who's looking for any kind of good brands, like drugstore brands, I'm pretty sure they have them in Matt O'Flaherty's as well. So they're really easy to pick up. Then I'm going to go back into a fluffy brush here like this, which is just a bigger fluffy brush, and apply that same colour. And this is just going to blend it out even further. So it's going to give that nice soft halo effect around the eye. So we're going to go back and forth like this into the crease, right into the inner corner and the outer corner. And like I said, again, it's all bit by bit. I know it takes kind of a pain to have to keep going in and building it up bit by bit, but the difference it makes is huge. If you were to go in with loads of products straight away, it's just going to get really messy, and that's when you kind of have that like black eye instead of like a smoky eye. It looks like you just kind of have a sore eye. So by blending it out like this, it's a lot more flattering, let's just say. Like so. And I'm going to actually wing it out like a bit more of a cat eye, like this. Just personal preference. I love the kind of look of it brought out, kind of like Cara Delevingne, the way she'd wear like a nice kind of grungy smoky eye like this. And the exact same on the other eye as well. This is much, I know it seems like it's taking ages because I'm explaining every step, but this is actually really, really easy to do once you have it down. You're just applying like one colour on the lid and then one colour to blend it out, really. So you don't need a whole palette of things to get the effect that you need, I suppose. Now, when you're blending like this, a lot of the time you can take away from the colour that's on the lid. So after I'm finished blending, I do like to go back in and just reapply any colour that we kind of lost from blending, and we apply it back onto the lid then, just to intensify it again. So I'm going to go back into the flat brush that I used on the lid with the lid colour and just pack a bit more of it on. And don't be afraid like to go back in or intensify anything, because a lot of the time it is kind of going back in over yourself. I know it's annoying, but like if you ever look at how girls get that like perfect smoky eye, it's not just doing one step once. You kind of have to go back in on yourself a lot of the time. And like go back in, blend, add a bit of colour, blend, you know. It's time consuming. But it's so worth it. When you've got that good smoky eye, it's worth it in the end. So going back in. Now, if you wanted to, you could even add a darker colour again to the outer corner. But for today, I'm actually going to leave it like this. This is as dark as I'm going to go. But like I said, personal preference, you can add more of a darker colour. You can change these up if you prefer. I'm going to add a highlighter to the eye next. Just going to finish this off. And this has such a nice shimmer to it as well. So any kind of shimmery colours are usually a lot easier to blend. So if you are in a rush, always go for more of a shimmer shade, because they're going to blend out a lot easier than matte colours. So back in with my blending brush like this, into the crease. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to highlight the brow bone. So I'm going to go in with a nice champagne-y shimmery shade, and it's in the colour Aura. So it's like a really light gold kind of champagne colour. Any light shimmery colour is perfect for this. You don't have to go with the exact colours. You can actually use that twilight shade that we use to highlight the face. I'm going to apply that in the highest arch of the eyebrow or the brow bone on both eyes first. And then I'm going to blend it out. So this is gorgeous as well when you're on holidays. I know, like, it's perfect for obviously our weather here because it's nice and dark and it's intense, but on holidays as well, because it's nice glow to the skin, it looks gorgeous as well. And then the exact same on the other. And just turn this way for me. Perfect. And then I'm just going to clean up any of the edges there. So with the brush that I applied that lighter powder underneath the eyes with, I'm just going to clean up her eyes like this. Any bit of fallout like this. If you find that you struggle a lot with fallout, what you can do is you can actually apply your eyeshadow first and then go in and apply your face makeup. Or you can apply a lot of translucent powder underneath your eyes there. So if you do get any powder or eyeshadow that falls down, you just wipe it away and it doesn't like ruin your makeup. I just kind of have a flick technique that just works for me. So I just kind of flick it away really quickly, but that doesn't work all the time. Sometimes it can kind of actually blend it onto your face. So just be careful. So then I'm going to apply a little bit of that bronzer underneath the eye as well. So I'm going to go in with my big fluffy brush like this with the bronzer, sun-kissed again. This is amazing. Like, it's just so multi-purpose. Like, you can use it in the eyes, for your skin. So good. If you look right up again for me, I'm going to blend this out. And like I said, really lightly, right into the inner corner to the outer corner. And then the exact same on the other eye. Now you don't have to use a brush this big underneath the eye. I just do it because it's kind of time consuming as well and it kind of blends out for you. If you have smaller eyes, you can go in with a smaller brush, obviously, whatever kind of fits in. And as well, you don't have to go with smoky underneath the eye. I know anyone who has smaller eyes, sometimes if you smoke underneath, it can make your eyes appear smaller. Or sometimes if you just apply a light bit of, just a light kind of colour here, a little bit darker than your skin tone, just adds a little bit of definition without having to go really smoky underneath. And it can make your eyes appear a little bit larger as well, because it just gives them a little bit more of a rounded effect and a bit more definition. So after we've applied that light bronze colour on our large fluffy brush, I'm going to go back into the colour that we applied on the lid, and I'm going to use a smaller blending brush just to get right in there. So this one here, it looks basically the same, it's just a little bit smaller. And if you look right up again for me, I'm going to apply that right into the lashes. And so that light bronzer that we applied first just automatically blends out that colour. And I'm actually going to highlight the inner corner of the eye as well, just to show you. I'm going to use the same colour that we used to highlight the brow bone, but just on the inner corner of the eye this time. So that's Orb. I'm going to take it, if you look right up again for me, and just apply it in the tear duct here. And grab it again. Again, this is optional. This is just going to bounce a bit of light into the eyes. And if you look down for me, you don't have to do anything like this, but it's just a different look. If you're to keep it dark and keep it smoky, it's going to be a lot more intense. So this just kind of adds a little bit of light. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a brown gel liner. So this one here is in Espresso. This is one I was saying actually is really nice in the eyebrows as well. I'm going to grab this on a small little brush like this. So it actually just looks like a miniature, I don't know if you can see it there, a miniature eyeshadow brush like that. It's tiny, but it's perfect for just smudging it out. So I'm not going to do perfect liner, I'm just going to smudge this out. You can also use a pencil liner as well, but this is just a little bit quicker. So if you close your eyes there for me, sorry, and just apply this. I'm lifting up the eyebrow like this and applying it right into the roots of the eyelashes. So what this does is it makes the eyelashes appear thicker and it makes it just go from really dark to lighter. So it creates more of a transition. If you do use a brush like this to apply this, make sure you do clean it off after, because gel liners will make your brush go stiff and you'll start to lose shape and stuff. So if you're finding it really hard to get a gel liner or anything out of your brush, baby oil is actually really good because it just lifts it. So just a cotton pad and baby oil and like your brush will be brand new. It just breaks down any of the oils in the makeup. Because I know so many people end up throwing out their gel liner brushes because it's just completely it starts to go in that kind of scoop motion when you've had it for so long. You just keep adding more and more product on it. So baby oil, I'm telling you now, just brings it back to life. So I'm just going to apply this, like I said, right into the inner corner, to the outer corner, right along the eyelashes. And then you can see that this just adds a bit more of a grungy effect as opposed to that really perfect gel liner. If you look straight ahead. Perfect. So I'm going to go back in with this brush again and just clean up any more fallout. So I'm going to take an angled brush now and apply that same brown gel liner in the waterline as well. So a lot of people just apply a pencil in the waterline. You can actually apply a gel liner too. Gel liner usually lasts a little bit longer. So anyone who finds trouble getting pencils to stay put in their waterline, a lot of people have that trouble. Try a gel liner just on an angled brush like this. So if you look right up again for me, I'm just pulling it out and applying it right on the waterline. Because this is waterproof as well, it's more likely to stay there for longer. They do have this in black as well, so anyone who prefers black, you can apply that instead. Black will just give it more of an intense smoky eye, so it's completely up to you. If you turn this way from me, look right up. With this kind of look, I like to apply a lot of mascara as well. Just to kind of keep it grungy, keep it kind of like that thick mascara. It's completely up to you what you like. If you want to add false lashes, you can. But because this is nice and smoky, you have a lot of definition in your eye. So if you don't like to wear false lashes, but you do like your eyes to stand out, this is a really nice way of doing it. Or like if you're running out the door and you don't have eyelashes, this is a really nice way of kind of getting that intense smoky eye as well. So I'm just going to use the Outrageous Lashes from Youngblood as well. And I'm going to use it on an eyebrow spoolie like this, a disposable one. Obviously, when you're doing it on yourself, you just use it straight from the tub like this. So be really generous when you're applying mascara, because a lot of people just kind of apply a small amount and then they kind of move on. If you look right down to your knees for me. So I always say to apply down on the lashes first, to coat the top of the lashes, especially if you're blonde. Your eyelashes are going to be a lot fairer. So to make sure that you don't have, you'll probably notice when sometimes you talk to anyone who's blonde, I did it when I was younger, and you apply your mascara up like this, but then when you look down, you can see all the blonde eyelashes here. So by going down on top, you'll just coat all the eyelashes. So down first and then go back up. And wiggle the brush right in at the root as well. Make sure you cover all of the lashes. And then I'm going to do the exact same on the other eye. Again, down on the lashes and then back up after. If you find that when you're applying mascara, you find it really hard for it to kind of, when you open your eyes and your eyelashes tip against your eyelid, if you look down when you're applying your mascara like this or tilt your head back, you're less likely for your eyelashes to kind of rub against your eye and like transfer any of the mascara. So by putting your head back, looking in the mirror or looking down into a mirror, it's a really good technique. So then I'm going to move on to the lip. So I'm going to pair this with the Nude lip. Now, if you prefer to obviously wear a darker lip, you can go in with the darker lip. If you like red lip, you can pair this with the red lip. It's just complete personal preference. I love a nude lip, so at the moment this is my favorite lip liner, and it's Pout by Youngblood. It's just the perfect, I'm not even going to get into it, it's just a really good nude lip liner. It's really nice, I can just keep on talking about it. It's like not too pink, it's not too nude, and it just, especially if you want to outline your lips, it's a really nice colour as well. For anyone who loves that kind of Kylie Jenner lip, this is a nice way to kind of like really lightly get into it because it's not too dark. So you can just kind of transition slowly into the darker Kylie Jenner lip. But what I like to do is I apply it on the outer lines of the lips, obviously, and then I apply it onto the lips as well. So this acts as like a base for the lipstick then. So your lipstick will last that little bit longer. Now, if you have drier lips, applying a lip liner sometimes can dry them out even more. So make sure you do add a lip balm when you first begin your makeup, just so it can kind of blend into your lips and, sink into your lips. So I'm going to make sure I get a nice coating on that. The good thing with nude lips as well is you can do it a lot quicker because you don't have to be as precise. A really nice technique, what I like to do is sometimes I like to fill in all my lips with a lip pencil and then just smudge it with your finger almost, or apply a tiny bit of lipstick with your finger on top. Because it's a lip liner, it's matte, it's going to last a lot longer than a lipstick. And then bringing it onto the lip colour again. Then I'm going to go in with the nude. So the nude that I'm going to be using is this one here, and it's in Blushing Nude. There's amazing new matte lipsticks as well. One called Boudoir, which is really, really nice. This one's just a bit more nourishing on the lips, so it's a bit more hydrating. The other ones are matte, so they last a little bit longer. So I'm going to take this one here. You can obviously just apply this straight from the tube if you have it yourself, but for hygiene purposes and for makeup artistry, you have to do it with a brush. So like this, I'm going to apply it right into the centre of the lips first, and then blend it out. And it's just a really, really nice nude colour. So it's not too light and it's not too dark. But like I said, if you prefer red, you can do red. There's actually a gorgeous orange colour in the range called Tangelo, and it's so, so nice, especially for summer. It's nice glossy orange. Then to set the face, sometimes when you look at the face, after you've applied like your eye makeup and then your lips, it can kind of take away from your contour a bit. So don't be afraid to kind of look at your makeup after, and you feel like you need to kind of top up anywhere, go back in and just add a little bit more if you need to. I always find that once you apply your eye makeup, it can kind of take away from the contour a bit. So just add a little bit more. Like I said, wherever you position your brush first, wherever your brush touches the skin first is where you're going to get the most product deposited. Deposited? Yeah. So make sure you apply it there first and then blend it out. And then same over here. Same on this side, onto the nose, and then just on top of the areas that we already applied it. Now if you wanted to, you could also add, false lashes to this, or if you wanted to add that black gel liner to give it more of like a perfect, structured smoky eye, you can. But for me, I think that is good. I'm going to finish it off with a setting spray. So this is really good, especially if you've used a lot of powder on the face, or if you've got dry skin. You can apply this before you actually apply any of your makeup. Just spritz your face first, then apply your makeup, and then you can use it after as well. So it just settles all that powder so you don't look too powdery or too matte, and just kind of brings a little bit of luminosity back into the skin. So if you close your eyes there for me. So just let that dry for a minute or two. It will kind of look like droplets on the skin first, but it just absorbs all into your skin and has vitamins and stuff. I cannot do my makeup without setting it like this. It just helps it last longer as well. So these are always a really good investment. Just don't touch your face for a minute or two, because otherwise you're just going to wipe off all the makeup. But that is the makeup look completed. So I hope you kind of picked up some tips. Like I said, you can change any of the colours. You can mix it around, dark lip, darker eye, or a lighter eye. If anyone has any questions or anything, me and the girls from Matt O'Flaherty's are both here. So if anyone wants to try any of the products or see anything closer, we have all the range here, so you can kind of come up and have a swatch of things. Or if anyone wants to have a look at the makeup closer or ask me any questions, just come on up to us. But thank you so much for coming, and I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thank you. Thank you.